All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to give you a case study of today's biggest momentum stock. As a day trader, my goal is to find stocks that are moving. I don't make money if I buy a stock at 5 and sell it at 5. I want to buy it at 5 and sell it at 10. I would love to do that in like a 15-minute long trade for a 100% move. Today, we didn't quite get a 100% move, but STI was up over 70%. Actually, no, you know what? It did get up over 100% at one point. I think right now it's up about 67%. It's pulled back a little bit off the top. I forgot to mention our St. Paddy's Day sale is ending tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the closing bell. So if you want to use the special coupon codes we've put together to save a little extra on your Warrior Starter or your Warrior Pro membership, come over to our website, warriortrade.com, and you could check it out. Those of you guys who want to watch me while I'm trading live, my live stream is only available to members at Warrior Trading. The Warrior Starter, Warrior Pro members also get access to my classes. You can also choose to get access to Day Trade Dash, the scanners, the charts, everything else, the newsfeed that I'm using. But if you want my live broadcast, you have to be a member. So make sure you check out those specials that we've got going on right now for St. Paddy's Day sale. And let's go ahead and jump back into the recap. All right, so let's get oriented. How do I even find stocks like this in the first place? I'm using my scanners. All right, so these are scanners that I've had custom built by a development team. So we run them at Warrior Trading. And it's showing me the top gainers in the entire stock market of stocks over 50 cents a share. That's my minimum cutoff. So YSG was our leading percentage gainer today. However, this one is a little bit of a, I guess you'd say it's an exception to the rule because it's a reverse split. So sometimes when companies do a split, this is a 5-to-1 split, it'll look like the stock jumped up overnight. The chart will eventually get corrected, so it won't look like a gap. A gap is when you have this big window on the daily chart. So that actually shouldn't look that way, but this happens all the time. Anyway, so it's just a reverse split with no other news, so there's nothing to trade or be excited about with that one. All right, so back to here. So this morning when I first sat down, and it wasn't early that I sat down, but when I first rolled over in bed, I pulled up my scans as I always do, and just to sort of get myself oriented. What are we working with here today? Now, usually my phone, I'm so tired I can't even see my face. I have to like type in my passcode. But I typed in my passcode and I saw that the leading gapper was like 40%. So I was like, all right, 40%. This is not super impressive. We don't have much going on. Friday was a little slow. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. A lot of traders drink very, very heavily. So no surprise that yesterday might have been, this morning's a slow morning. Okay, so people are moving slow this morning. I look at the scans. Nothing's really that interesting. But STI, it just kept not going away. Like an actual STI. This just didn't want to go. Okay, so step 2, identify the catalyst. Check the news on the news feed. So I pulled up the news feed here, and honestly, I looked at it and I was like, well, there's really no headline. There's no catalyst driving the stock higher, but I was already familiar with it because I had seen it on the scans on Thursday and Friday. So when I pulled up the daily chart, I was like, right, okay, so let's get oriented, right? It was moving up, but neither day it held super well. It kind of popped up and pulled back. And it was even in play earlier in the week back here. So I was familiar with the stock. We had seen it in play last week. And so for that reason, I was like, all right, I obviously I know what we're working with here. And to be honest, I don't really like this stock. So what are my reasons for not liking it? Well, number one, it's lower priced, and I usually find that these lower priced stocks are they're kind of like grinders. Unfortunately, we don't usually get really clean price action. They'll sort of move a little higher, like 5-8 cents, and then they'll drop back down. And then they'll move a little higher, and they'll drop back down. And then they flush, and then they kind of rally back up. One of the things that happens is when you have low price stocks, you have these low price stocks here. I'll just get centered. A stock that's trading 248, by 249. You'll often have big stacks of sellers, big stacks of buyers. So you might have, essentially a total of, 50,000 shares on the bid and, 45,000 shares on the offer. So maybe it's a little lighter on the offer, but it's very thick. These stocks don't move quickly. And so for that reason, a lot of people will buy, full 50, 60, 75, 100,000 share positions because you certainly can. There's a lot of liquidity. In fact, the total volume on STI today is already 81 million shares. So this has a ton of volume. So the problem is now you have people that are accumulating huge positions. And when they press the sell button, to bail out, you might have the stock moving up and then 100,000 shares sell order goes through, and then it kind of rallies back up. So unfortunately, you get these knife candles, which are caused by these big sell orders and the way market makers abuse retail traders who place orders like that. So, so I look at the daily chart and I'm like, ugh. I mean, yes, does it have some windows and levels? There's resistance here at $3. High here and high here. But above that level, it has room up to 425. So I was like, all right. I mean, I like that. So I pull up the chart and I end up kind of breaking the ice and taking a few trades. All right. So it first squeezed up here pre-market early. It pulls back. It comes back up in double tops at about 290. It pulls back, and I was watching it right here, but there were so many sellers stacked at that resistance level at 3 that I was like, what's the point of buying it at 290, knowing that we're going to come right up to resistance at 3? We already know these stocks typically trade with, quite a lot of respect to half dollars and whole dollars. So usually we come up to like 250, we pull back. We come up to 3, we pull back. We already saw 3 was resistance. I already saw on the level 2, lots of sellers, 100,000 shares of sellers on the ask at 3. So I was like, what's the point of buying right here at 290? I'm probably only going to make like 4 cents a share. Granted, I could buy 10,000 shares times 4 equals $400, but I can get in here at 290 and then luck of the draw, that's the moment it drops 12 cents and I'm down 1,200, right, on the 10,000 shares. So $1,200 of risk versus 400 of profit, that's a negative profit to loss ratio. It's not sustainable to trade like that. It's not even worth it. So I just said, it's not worth it. I'm not touching this stock right here. I don't like it. So it ends up doing better than I thought. It squeezed up to 330. It pulls back. It pops up. It drops down. And I drew an ascending support line right about here. And I said, you know what? Seems like it's holding about 310, 315. So as it started to pull away, at 325, I took a position. I was like, you know what? Let's break the ice. And I took a position. I got in at 325. It ends up squeezing up to 330, 340, all the way to 350. I was like, you know what? That's better than I thought. It really is. That was better than I thought. I was pleased with the trade. So I made a little bit of money on that. Now I'm going to pull up my chart so we can break down this in a little bit more detail. But actually, what ended up happening was I traded it a couple of times, and I finished with $1,000 of profit in total, but I actually gave back some profit off the top. So on my first trade, I broke the ice right here. And, it was a little risky because we had seen this rejection candle. You see that rejection candle? How it kind of pushed higher, rejected, and dropped. But I had drawn this line connecting these two lows, and I thought, let's give it a chance. Now you can see it kind of came right back up to that level a little later. So I got in here, 328 average, adding as it went higher. It goes up to 350, and then it flushes back down. At the open, I got back in it right here. I thought that we were going to squeeze through 350, back through the pre-market high, and up to 360, 370. I was like, okay, it's moving, and we're coming back up to this level. If we break over this level, it's going to go. And it rejected it, dumped back down. So I hit a high on this. My P&L today was a little bit of a roller coaster. First trade, let's see, first trade of the day. No, I can't remember. I think my first trade was about $1,600 plus 1,600. And then I added a little bit more profit. And so that was sort of my first trade. Second trade, I got myself up to 2,400 approximately. And then I lost about half of that, 1.2, 1,200 on this one. And then I got back in and I lost again. So I had a couple losses and I was like, gosh darn it. But as the morning went on, it curled back up here and I was able to get back into the green. So anyways, $1,000 of profit on this stock. It's really nothing to be all that excited about. It's not a big winner for me, but I'm still trading a little bit more conservatively. I'm in trader rehab. I really shouldn't have even given back as much as I did on it. So I noted in my journal today that my emotions were a little higher because I made 2,500 and then I went back to red, down 38 bucks. And then I made 2,500 again. And then I gave it back a second time. Now I didn't give it all back the second time, but I did give a bunch of it back. So STI, it's a bummer that it rejected so hard right there. And at this point, unfortunately, the stock is dead. So that was the number one leading gainer that I was focused on. Excuse me. This morning. Oh my gosh. And then I had Wave D popped up. WAVD. This one broke my heart today. It was a real heartbreaker. So it has news that comes out and we get an algo spike. On this one, same process as STI. It hits the scanner. So I pull up the scans. I see it on the scanner. I pull up the chart. I see it has news and I jumped in. It starts squeezing up right here. It goes from 450 to, from 350 to 450 all the way up to a high of 525. And I made on that move right there, 2,500 bucks on that stock, which was great. I was like, this is terrific. So I had a really nice trade on it right there. I bought the micro pullback as it started pulling away. I bought a micro pullback on a 10-second chart. It goes higher. Then it pulls back here. As it comes back up, we double topped and it pulled back for a second and I bought this dip here with 4,000 shares. It pops up to 530 and then it drops in one candle right here to 450 and I lost $2,000 on it. So I went from up 2,500 to up 500 bucks. And it was just like, man, I'm not even trading with big size, but my P&L is jumping around here. This is getting a little frustrating. I don't know what to say. I had another trade this morning on WNW that was like an instant $700 loss. This one had breaking news. I jumped in it as it was squeezing up and it rejected instantly. So high volume on the red candle, lost 700 bucks on that. And then I had a trade on AISP, which I had said was on my watch list from Friday, or my game plan yesterday. So it ended up breaking 11 and squeezing up. I took a trade right up in here for a move higher, stopped out for a loss. Lost 160 on it. No big deal. I think it's going to go higher. It's up at 1270, 1280 now, but I didn't want to just keep holding it. And then I got a sort of surprise trade on BNAI. I was pretty much ready to be done for the day. And then I saw it squeezing up right here. And I bought 250 shares of it. Super small size at 1650 average right here. It ends up going up to a high of $19.75 on the halt resumption. So a little red to green move there on that. But nonetheless, today's a small green day. It hit a high of 2,600 and I'm finishing with $1,115.45. So today is, a bit of a drag. It's kind of a slow day. So anyways, made my way back up to right here, 11:15 approximately. And I guess that's a good enough place to call it a day. It just doesn't feel to me like today's going to be a hot day. And even right now, it's almost 1 o'clock. Still haven't missed anything by stepping back a little bit. So going to call it a day there, finishing like that. Now, as you know, last week, after having like $160,000, I guess it was, of profit over 3 or 4 weeks, I lost $10,000 and then I lost $20,000. Made back $8,000 on Wednesday, made back $4,000 on Thursday, made back $2,000 on Friday, made back $1,000 today. All right, so creeping higher here, but still a little bit below my high from before the drawdown. So right now I'm still in recovery mode. I don't want to obviously do something like that, so I still have to manage my risk and try to just keep having small steps higher until I'm back at the all-time highs. And then maybe we'll see the market pick up a little bit because I'll say that today, it just didn't feel like there was a lot of juice. There wasn't a lot of momentum. It just felt like a slower day. Now, yes, we did have this nice move on BNAI, I suppose. That was a nice move, but it was such light volume, and I only took small size. I mean, it wasn't even really worth it, but $500 is fine, $2 a share. I'll actually say that I did quite well in my small account today, which again, I'm going to save that for an upcoming episode, so make sure you guys stay tuned. But small account is doing well. I had a red day on Friday, but recouped that loss today. So, just sort of chugging along here. But when I look at the scans today, as it sits right now, the top gainers in the market, STI 70%. It's a red candle right now on the daily versus the open. BNAI up 58%. Very thinly traded. Not sure that we're going to get anything else out of that. GOEV, I saw a number of you guys were trading this one. 27 million share float put me off. 91 million shares of volume, but kind of squeezed up and then pulled way back. FREZ, a couple low price stocks, and maybe we are getting into a little bit of a phase where some of these cheaper stocks are getting more attention. That there were a few today that were cheaper. I have a scanner here just for penny top gainers. So on the penny top gainers, 177 on TPHS. So this one had some attention. A lot of people were trading that one this morning. STI is this is, I think, under $3. So some of these are on both scans. But, you see a few stocks on this scan. 128 million shares of volume on TPHS. But given it's only 23 cents, it's really kind of cheap. You've got more dollar volume for sure on STI. I mean, this is, three times 8. I mean, you're talking about a $250 million traded on a stock with a 4.4 million share float. It's kind of insane how thickly traded it was, despite the float being as low as it is. But if I pull up the level 2, you'll just see like this thing, it moves like a snail. It's just so slow, super thickly traded, both on the bid and the ask. And then you get the occasional 100,000 share order that goes through and kind of flushes it for a second or pops it for a second, but then it goes back to being just really thickly traded. The mechanism there is that when you route your order, when you send your order out, the market makers see that order come in and they move out of the way instantly. You get a worse fill. You get a bad fill, and then it goes. It's so frustrating, but it's just the way it is. It's why it's hard for retail traders to really size up in a big, big way, because the market makers are just going to step in front of you. They're going to move in front of you. And anyways, it's super annoying. But I hope you guys found this episode helpful. As always, I hope you hit the thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed to the channel. I've noticed a lot of you guys watching these episodes are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And I've got some great episodes coming this week. We're going to have a new episode on the Small Account Challenge series. And I've got a couple episodes that are, well, I don't want to give it away. So anyways, we've got a couple more coming soon. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and you'll see them when they get posted. Thank you as always for tuning in. Reminder, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. So manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you back here for the next